If a man does the work, the dating game is completely different.
The benefit of being a provider means that I get the pick of whoever I want to choose to be with. If I'm that dude, I can choose to be with either a woman with no kids or a woman who does. Because you remember, I'm a man, I love peace before I love a woman. I'll choose the woman who brings more peace. Her 5 kids with the extra baby daddies. With the extra baby daddies who are going to get upset if I whoop their kids. Now I got to whoop them kids. I got to whoop the daddy too. I'm going to get a woman who ain't got none of that baggage. If I can, as the benefit of being a provider, I will choose the woman with the kids if I don't have to, which I don't.
You ain't saying one thing wrong, right? Hey, let's just be fair. This is the dating game that we have found ourselves in, that we have helped create. When we focus so much on being a provider, right? And we don't have to agree with how we got here, but we can all say this is where we're at. This is a state of play right now, right? Like the State of the Union, a couple nights ago. This is a state of dating. This is how it is. So if you do the work, if you hit all the things that women say is important to them, i.e. the first one being a provider, you get to have your say. That is the fairest terms you could look at dating today. If you do the work as a man, you got your say, right? It takes you time to sort of get there. But before we do a deeper dive into this, like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss no uploads. Still trying to do 2 a day, right? Still trying to do 2 a day. Hype the video, share the video. We got merch in the store. Okay. So we talk about the dating game a lot here, right? We especially there's multitude of factors, multitude of reasons of how we got where we are. Most of the time, to be fair, most of the time the conversation centers around people's aspirations of what they would like. You want to have a provider male. You want to have someone that could pay all the bills. You have all these aspirations for what you believe you deserve, what you should be allowed to get. But reality shows you something different. That's why the complaints are about average men or below average men. When you paint with broad strokes, what we see a lot is, as men that I consider myself an above average man, we see a lot of the conversation about, I want a man that can do X, Y, and Z. But the evidence of that, of your actual dating choice and your dating schema, is of men that haven't been able to do that for you. And then you have children by them. And one, right, and we're trying to be fair. One, we can understand. Most men can understand what happened, right? Yeah, there was a rug pull. You thought things were sweet and then they weren't. Cool. But then when you have multiple baby daddies, multiple children, you got 3 kids and 4 baby daddies, you got, like we're playing spades, you got a possible. That's when men have a trouble really understanding what you're saying that you want now. And again, we understand what you want is what you want. You're taking your life lessons and experiences and saying, I've done wrong, or what my choices will give me consequences that I'm not happy with. So I would like to change that. So now I want better. Completely understand that. We want to interject and say those choices that you made before have the consequences. They complicate things. Not saying you can't get the things that you want, but it complicates the equation now. If you have 3 kids and you want that high value man, you want that man that has made something himself, right? And don't get caught up on the terms. But you want a man that meets your criteria. Well, now what you bring to the table becomes hypercritical. But this is the part of the balance of the equation that we don't really get to talk enough about. When you are that man that has navigated his life, when you have made it to the spot, and now for all that work, you're going to say, I'm going to get the thing I want. Like, just like you're a consumer, when you go in to buy a car, you want the things you want. If you're going to get a brand new car, you are concerned down to the feel, the leather, the sound system, the engine, the exhaust. All of these things are important to you, and because you've done the work, you are determined to get exactly what you want. There's people with spending, $250,000 to $300,000 to $400,000 customizing a Porsche for that very reason. Like, I've done the work, I have the money, and by the way, most people don't finance their Porsches. At that point, you're buying cash. You know what you want, what you're getting. You spec this thing out. It's yours, right? Because you've done all that work to turn over that amount of money. It's the same thing in dating. When a man has done that, he is now saying, I'm now deciding what I'm going to purchase. I'm deciding what I'm dating for. And if the options are someone with 4 or 5 kids with an accompanying amount of baggage in terms of baby fathers and personalities and all these other things that they have to deal with, let's leave the money aside. Let's say he has the ability to pay for you and the 4 kids. He is now going to say, what am I getting for that? Whichever way you want to spin this, it's a complication. I'm not going to say it's a headache. You could have the most well-mannered children on the planet. They're all Rhodes Scholars. They all play the piano. They're perfect. That's still a complication versus someone with none. That's it. Right? It's you. If you don't like it, it's cold, it's unfair. But that is the name of the game. When we were younger, we watched women have their say. They were in charge. They were steering the dating market. They were deciding what pool we're all gonna, jump in at the same time. Over time, there's some men, and this is an important distinction. Some men, what we see a lot of men making the mistake of thinking simply because they hit their 30s, their 40s, their 50s, now you're going to tell women what you want, but you don't have a pot to piss in. You haven't done the work to distinguish yourself. And you think, oh, now she's older, she should just acquiesce to me. No, women also are making the decision whether or not they're going to, actually partake in dating as well. All we're saying is the favor switches. And when men, like the gentleman was saying, when you've made it to that spot, now you get to say, this is what I want. Now you go to the negotiation table and you have the list of demands. You don't have to compromise on much. Hey, I meet 8 of the 10 things on your list. 8 out of 10. Here's my list. Here's what I need. Here's what I'm looking for. You don't meet any of these, or you have too many things that are basically disqualifiers. All right, on to the next one. And if you've made it to that point, because these, especially the financial part of it, for most people, it's going to take a matter of decades. Most people don't hit their financial stride to their 40s or 50s. But on that way there, maybe in your 30s, you got it, right? You're an early bloomer, you got it. You are now going to dictate and say, this is what I want. This is what I want. You don't care. I don't care if it's unfair. You've made it that far. In order to get to that spot, it means you probably don't have any kids. You were careful about where you laid your seed. You were careful about the other decisions in your life to get you where you need to be. That's just kind of what the data sort of bears out. So here you are. Now you're going to get what you want. What we see a lot of is people trying to flip that. And not just, I just want to put it on women. I also put it on, there's some men out there that are pandering and trying to make it seem as if men are wrong for determining and saying, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I want now. You call them sassy, right? You say, who's going to be the girls? Right? You give all the nomenclature that you want to try to make these men somehow wrong for playing the dating game or playing the hand that they were dealt, for participating in a dating game the way it is today. No. You can say it as much as you want, but the end result is still the end result. If I've done the work, if I've navigated, if I've made it past all these hurdles in life, and now I basically have the crown, or I'm a crown prince, I'm next up in line. Yeah, I'm going to tell you what I want. I'm going to tell you what's important to me. A lot of female creators are coming on here and telling you what it's like to deal with a man with money, a man that actually has his standards, his boundaries in check. And says it's not easy. He's going to tell you what you can and cannot do around him. And he's not going to force you. He's not going to say, hey, don't wear that. You cannot wear that out with your girlfriends. No, he's just going to say, I would prefer if you didn't wear that, but you're your own woman. You can do what you want. Here's what I'm going to do. That's it. Men like that, they understand that their most valuable resource is their attention, where they lay their head, where they spend their time with, who they spend their time with. At that point, they're writing the checks, right? They're making the decisions. We don't have to like it. Just like when we were younger, we didn't like our hand as men. We didn't like our hand in the dating game. Some of us did the work, right? And we didn't do the work in terms of just for dating. No, you did the work because you found your purpose, you found your drive, and you stuck to that. And you tried to maneuver life according to that purpose. And then you look up and time has sort of passed and dating has shifted. The importance of dating has shifted. Who has the realm, or at least who can come to the table and now actually negotiate properly. Hey, this is what I'm looking for. Do you have these qualities? No? Okay, no hard feelings. Let me keep moving. That's it. In a nutshell, that's it. But if you disagree, if you got something to add, let me know down in the comments below. If you see other videos on your screen, take a look at those. Let me know your thoughts about those in those videos. And if you listen to my voice now, you have not subscribed, I think you should. I'll see you in the next one.